We are back. Sneaky Hembo. A lot of pressure on these two this morning. Ezekiel Elliott averages 131 yards from scrimmage in his first 3 years. Only one player ever had more. Can you name that player?
Give me Eric Dickerson. I got it.
I like that. Let's go Barry Sanders.
Okay, let's go neither.
What?
The correct answer is Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin James.
He averaged 139 yards from scrimmage.
But was I close?
And
Good work,
no, you were
good
not
work, good
close.
work.
I don't know. In what way were you close?
Not close.
What are you even asking me? All right.
Good job.
Hembo
good job,
survives and will have a wonderful weekend. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones, his weekend will be a little stressful. He says now he's operating under the assumption that Ezekiel Elliott will miss regular season games. Before that announcement from Jones last night, Cowboys legend Emmitt Smith, who held out in 1993, had this to say.
If he doesn't do it right now, when the league is talking about devaluing the running back position, and he has proven that he can not only carry the ball 350 plus times on a consistent basis, there aren't many backs in the National Football League that can do that. We have one on our team, and there's another one up in New York, and you'd be hard-pressed to find someone else. And so when you got those kind of caliber backs on your squad, they're unique individuals. And he is a very unique individual, and he deserved to be paid like that.
So again, that's Emmitt Smith, the all-time rushing leader, and he held out, as I mentioned, in 93. The first 2 games, the Cowboys started 0-2. He signs, and they wind up winning the Super Bowl. So he knows of which he speaks. At the end of the day, guys, the running back position has been devalued. There's no question. Can you pay Zeke Elliott what he wants to be paid? Does it make sense?
No, I understand all the analytical arguments against paying Zeke Elliott or against paying any running back, but I think in this particular case it makes sense because the point that you and I have been making this whole season is that they have this chance now to win. At the end of the season, they're going to have guys like Byron Jones come up on free agency, guys like Collins come up on free agency. They're not going to be able to have as talented as a team as they have right now going forward. So I think for Jerry Jones, it may be worth paying this guy.
To me, it's principle. The Cowboys have had a rushing leader before Ezekiel Elliott and DeMarco Murray. Let's not forget that. Oh. And with the same offensive line, because of how good the offensive line is, they likely will again. Not to devalue Zeke. Zeke is a freak. He's been dominant ever since he stepped foot into the league. But we just got to be frank. At this point, it's not necessarily about what you're doing on the field. Jerry Jones is offended, and he's not going to be punked by Zeke. Just call a spade a spade.
Jerry Jones isn't offended. Jerry Jones is just talking.
The emotional side is taking over here. But bottom line is, 2 years left on the deal. It's bad business for the Cowboys to negotiate a deal right now. I know they're in the business of winning, but that is just bad numbers. It doesn't make sense.
Certainly to go where Zeke is trying to take them, meaning to reset the running back market and then some, which is what Shefty told us a little while ago. And you know what? I've got a lot of Giant fans that we work with in here, and they're all saying to me, so how long till Saquon does exactly the same thing? Why wouldn't he?
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Give us something to talk about.
Well, I mean, but it does make sense.
Yeah,
the running back's lot in life is to get used up in his rookie contract, and then for them to come and say to you, yeah, we just can't pay you any more money. The Cowboys did that exactly with DeMarco Murray.
Until they shipped DeMarco off to play with me and Mark in Philadelphia.
That's true.
I think Zeke has seen that, though, and I think that's why Zeke is so adamant about getting his money while he can.
And that's why Emmitt Smith is basically saying, do it now, Zeke.
Right.
It does make sense. It is a fascinating stare down. We will see where it goes from here. Meanwhile, another place I want to take you is to New England, where Dan Orlovsky has been telling us all preseason the Patriots' offense is going to be even better, and there were some reasons to believe it. With Jarrett Stidham throwing the ball last night, that's Josh Gordon. He could be a difference maker.
Oh, I love Josh Gordon. He's fantastic. He's a big play guy, and he has the highest yards per attempt of any receiver with Tom Brady.
That's a nice 19-yard pickup from Gordon. You see the size of him there. You know who else played last night? Julian Edelman. Edelman on the field in their 4th preseason game. It was his preseason debut.
That just makes no sense to me. You're talking about a Super Bowl MVP and you playing in a 4th preseason game? That game is for rookies, undrafted kids.
He actually hurt himself last night on that, his only catch of the night, 20 yards. He wouldn't come back in the game. It did not appear serious. Now in the second quarter, here's Stidham. He's looking for Gordon. Can't quite connect, but we got the pass interference, Dominic.
Gosh, I can't. This pass interference stuff is out of hand. It's going to get even uglier as the season goes on. That's not pass interference. It's hard to find anything that I think is pass interference.
That's a good point. What position did you play again?
Cornerback.
Exactly. Okay, and then there's that guy, Demaryius Thomas. Okay? Here he is making his Patriot debut, and boy, did he make his presence felt. Look at the big body here on the 35-yard touchdown, and then he would catch another on the play we'll show you right here.
Oh, yeah, that was a heck of a play. It was really more about the throw than the catch. But right here, he's a big guy and a big body in the red zone, which we always feel important, and he finds space, something that only veterans can do.
7 catches, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Demaryius Thomas. So they have some very interesting names in that wide receiver room. There is the old reliable, Julian Edelman. There is Josh Gordon, who, of course, has the long history of substance abuse violations. But if he's right, he's a brilliant player. And then Demaryius Thomas coming off the Achilles. And don't forget they took N'Keal Harry, the big kid out of Arizona State, in the first round this year. So I'll repeat the first thing I said. Orlovsky has been telling us all summer long, the Patriots offense, even without Gronk, is going to get better, not worse. Mark Sanchez, do you believe that?
100% agree. I think they have just such a good stable of wide receivers, too much talent there, and the experience more than anything. And they're working with the best guy in the game.
And they got a bunch of running backs there as well.
They got a stable of running backs. You got Burkhead. You got your first-round pick last year in Sony Michel. The only question is Mark, you never know when the quarterback's decline is going to come, especially when you're talking about
here
a guy
we
in the
go.
40s.
We're going Brady Clinton.
No, I'm just saying, you just never know.
No,
the
I'm
guy
with
can't
you.
be great until he's 100.
He's 42, but the part of the reason why they had success last year was because they were the most efficient screen team in the league. And
Yes.
you know, when your quarterback arm starts to dwindle, it's real nice
game.
to pop it down to a screen.
Quick game.
But none of those
doubt.
names that we saw there are quick game screen type receivers. Those are big bodies down the field. And Gordon's the type of guy who can make those plays down the field. So I expect Brady to try to make those throws. And to your point, if Brady is starting to fall off, his stats last year was some of the worst that he's had since 2013, I believe. If he's starting to fall off, we'll see that this year when he's trying to make those big plays down the field to guys like Gordon.
That was the play right there against the Colts. That ball should be picked off, and look what Josh Gordon goes and does. He goes and gets that ball out of the air. They're fighting for that ball. So let's say he misses a couple passes. Those guys are going to make up for a little bit of that.
I feel like I need to say this again because it's been so long since we've seen it. In the very limited time that Josh Gordon was able to play unencumbered, he was genuinely the best receiver in the league.
But Greeny, this dude came in. We were both in Cleveland in 2012. He was a supplemental pick. I'm a linebacker. This dude's a wide receiver. I'm like, bro, you're my size. And you're out here running a 4.4?
monster.
I mean, this dude is a physical specimen.
Let's say it again. I mean, you talk about the best receivers in the sport, DeAndre Hopkins and Odell and Antonio Brown. He's that kind of good.
He is that good. I said the stat during the clip is that he has the highest yards per attempt. And again, maybe it's a small sample size, but including Randy Moss, highest yards per attempt receiver with Tom Brady in history. That's impressive.
All right, so we will see if that offense does indeed get even better. Meanwhile, let me run the option college football style here, and we had Jimbo Fisher at number 12, Texas A&M, rolling in their opener last night. Acho, any chance they beat Clemson next week?
The chance is slim to very, 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 very little, only because of how good Clemson is. But shout out to Kellen Mond. He balled last night. Look at this throw right here. Off the wrong foot, scrambling left, throwing right, drops a dime to the wide receiver. Again, Kellen Mond gave you 3 touchdowns last night, looking very, very good for the Aggies.
And so they take on Clemson next week. Elsewhere, number 14, Utah, pulled away from BYU in the second half for a win. Mark, how high are we on Utah?
I love Coach Whittingham. If I know anything, it's death, it's taxes, and Utah special teams. These guys are solid. I think they have the favorable draw out of the North. No Oregon, no Stanford. Their toughest game and their only game that they're not favored in at Washington.
Yeah, they're sort of a sneaky, interesting pick for the playoff. We will get to that a little bit later. Meanwhile, not a good night for UCLA at all, dropping their opener at Cincinnati by 10 points. They went 3-9 last year under Chip Kelly. How hot is the seat that Chip Kelly sits on right now?
Man, it's starting to warm up, Greeny. It's like them cold games you play in the NFL when you got them seat warmers, Sanchez. It's starting to warm up under his butt. I'm telling you, because you lose to Cincinnati last year, I believe. Then you lose to them again. You started off 0-5 last year. So you have a little schedule PTSD. You're starting to get worried like, man, this is another bad season for UCLA.
He's not even doing what we think of him as being good at. Their points per game are among the worst. They're in the hundreds as far as ranking in points per game, and that's a problem. If you can't even score with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, to me, it's starting to get bad, and it's starting to get ugly.
They got the toughest schedule in the country.
That's true, but I mean, as I look at it, you got to be able to beat Cincinnati, Sanchez.
They're no slouch.
On national television, if you are UCLA, you sitting out there in California, you are a big-time program with a huge head coach. Resume of coaching guys like LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, Mark Sanchez. You should be able to bring in some big dogs and win.
But hold on a second. Are you telling me that it might be a long year, or are you telling me that this may be just not a good fit?
I think it's a terrible fit. I think Chip, honestly, when he had the opportunity, I think word on the street is he could have gone to Florida, taken that hire before Mullen.
So why is this a terrible fit? Just because you can't get talent to go to UCLA? Like, I don't understand what's a bad fit.
I think they're going to recruit. He's got to give him some time now. It's only been 2 years, so.
You don't have time in modern-day college
You're
football.
so nice. Like, I feel like the whole meeting this morning, you're trying to be nice to everybody. You're trying to be nice to You're a sweetheart.
Yes, he's a quarterback. He's trying to spread it around. He's trying to let everybody make plays. We'll see if that winds up working out. One way or another, it is off to a very tough start for UCLA and Chip Kelly. Meanwhile, on planet Earth, let me show you this. Morehead State taking the turnover prop to a new level last night with the turnover cane. Let's take a look at this. We know about the turnover chain, but how about this? You got the pick in the end zone, and then take a look at here as we're going to see the turnover cane. What do you think of that? He's got the cane.
Oh, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. I see you. Although it's kind of whack. I
know.
The chain was original. The chain was original. Anybody else who's following the chain is corny.
Did you just ride with him and then
I love seeing DB show out. I like seeing DB show out, so I enjoyed it. And then I realized, it does look cheap. It's Morehead State. Come
It
on,
looked
man.
like a broom without the head of it.
It's not a private school like Miami. They don't got that long money at Morehead State.
Okay, whack or not whack? That's
It's
our
whack.
segment on Monday. As we continue, Kirk Herbstreit has Texas as one of his teams in the playoffs. What does Acho think? Answers to that and more. It's Get Up on ESPN.